This video is an algebra video on multiplying terms and with a focus on exponents. There are other words that we use for exponents as well. Sometimes we use the word indices, and sometimes we use the word powers. All three of these words can be used interchangeably, and they all mean the same thing. So before we begin to use them, let's just stop for a moment and think, what do we mean by the word exponent? What is an exponent? Here we have an example of a number with an exponent. The exponent is the 3. We can give the 5 a name too. We can call it the base. So what do we actually mean when we say 5 to the power of 3? Well, the exponent or the power keeps track of multiplication, and it tells us how many times the base is multiplying by itself. So if we have 5 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 5, then 5 to the power of 3 is just a shorthand way of keeping track of how many times that 5 is multiplying together. Of course, because 5 is a number value, we could actually work out 5 to the power of 3. Use your calculator to work this out. See if you can use the power button to find the solution for it. And pause the video while you do that. 5 to the power of 3 is 125. 5 by 5 by 5. Our main focus in this video, however, is not going to be numbers with powers, but instead variables with powers or variables with exponents. For example, if I had x by x by x by x, this is quite a long, clunky statement in maths. I'd like to write it in a neater, shorter way. How could I do that using exponents? Well, remember, the exponent keeps track of how many times the base is multiplying by itself. In this case, the base is x, and the exponent is 4. Here I've written y by y by y. Remember, brackets indicate multiplication. How could I write this in a shorter way using exponents? Y is my base, and my exponent is 3, since y is multiplying together 3 times. Notice that in the case of 5 to the power of 3, where the base was a number, I was able to evaluate 5 to the power of 3. However, for x to the power of 4 and y to the power of 3, I can't go any further with those because I don't have a number value for x or y in either of these cases. What if I had something like 4 by a by 2 by a? Not every term here in this multiplication is an a. There are some constants, the 4 and the 2. When I have a multiplication like this, I multiply the numbers together. In this case, the 4 by 2 will make 8. And I multiply the variables together, a by a. How should I write that, do you think? I'll use exponents. It'll be a squared. So 4 by a by 2 by a is 8a squared. Here I have 5 by 3 by 2b by b by b. I want to tidy this up. What do you think it should turn into? Okay, so first of all, looking at the number values, 5 by 3 by 2, that's going to give me 30. And then I've got b by b by b. And again, the exponent will help me keep track of how many times that base is multiplying together. So I should write b to the power of 3. Just to point out, in these two examples, the power is just applying to the variable. So this squared is just on the a. This cubed, this power of 3, is just on the b. Here we have another example. This time it's 3 by 2x squared by x. Okay, so when I work this out, how should I write it? So first of all, let's look at the numbers. So 3 by 2, that's going to give me 6. Now this time I've got x squared by x. So bear in mind that x squared means I already have 2 x's multiplying together, and this x represents a third. So what should I write at the end of the 6? I should write x to the power of 3, because that's just keeping track of how many times x is multiplying together twice, and another one is 3. Let's look at one last example. We've got, in this case, 4a squared by 2a squared by a. How could I simplify this, do you think? Okay, again, looking at the numbers first. So 4 by 2 is going to give me 8. And now let's look at our variable. So a squared by a squared by a. So I'm going to have a base of a and a power. Don't forget, the power or the exponent tells me how many times that base is multiplying together. So let's have a look. I've got a squared, which is a by a. That's 2 already here. And then another a squared, so that's 2 more. And then I have this one last a here. So in this case, I should write down a to the power of 5 at the end to indicate that I've got 2 and 2 more multiplying, and then one final a, that's 5 a's multiplying together in total.